Right after I say that. Thank you. Hello again. This is Brian Copeland talking. Welcome to another edition of Copeland's Corner. Got a great panel this week. Our booking producer and co-executive producer of the show, Tom Sawyer, is sitting in with us this week, as he does about once a month. So good to have you. Kathy Ladman is back. Jim Ballady is back. I got all these regulars now, it's awesome to have regulars. So good to see everybody. Let's see. We got lots to get into today, so let's just jump into it. Yesterday, by the way, I should mention that we are streaming. We are streaming live here on Wednesday. This show drops on Thursday, so if I'm referring to yesterday, it's Tuesday when we're recording. And if you want to be a part of this, by the way, yeah, and I messed everything up. We're across the international date line. If you're watching us over YouTube, just go into the comments and you can leave one. And if you have a question or you want to be part of the show, we will include you. Okay, so we had a couple special elections yesterday. The primary runoff in Texas for U.S. Senate between John Cornyn, the four-time Texas senator, and Ken Paxton, the former Attorney General, who Trump endorsed. I guess it was what was it, Tom? Because Cornyn had voted to impeach back after.
No, it just he wasn't. No, he voted against impeaching Trump, but he was just not MAGA enough.
But here's the thing: his voting record.
He had this much dignity, and that was way too much.
Way too much. Well,
Trump doesn't like dignity bigger than his penis. So
you need to go a little bit smaller than
the dignity about this size.
Well, his voting record is he voted 90. Dignity.
He's like a tater tot dignity. That's about right. That's about it.
Okay, can we finish now?
What are those FBI
we move on from the dick
standing
jokes?
behind Tom doing?
Anyway, Cornyn voted 99% of the time with Trump, according to the statistics. 99%, and apparently that still wasn't not enough.
Well, it was
so Ken Paxton.
Thing, yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. Let me go through this really quickly. Ken Paxton, who Trump endorsed, who they say is the most scandal-plagued politician in America. Let me mention just a couple of the things. I mean, I couldn't write everything down. Was impeached by his own party. 20 articles of impeachment, including bribery, abuse of power, bank fraud, and obstruction. Indicted on securities fraud, had to pay a $300,000 judgment. Has had multiple affairs, including some that were in which he misused his government authority to get Ubers under a phony account and use burner phones to keep this affair secret. Again, this is one of these big Christian-y guys. He's currently having an affair with a married mother of 7. And why you would want to do that, I sure as hell don't understand. But okay, that's fine.
I don't think you should be allowed to be married when you're 7 in Texas. I don't understand that one.
His net worth went up 7,000% since he became the Attorney General. He was impeached, and I think it was by one vote that he kept his job. He stole a $1,000 Mont Blanc pen from another lawyer. Why? I don't understand that. Let's see what else. There's just so much. His own staff says that he took bribes. I mean, there's a bunch of crap. And if you look at his acceptance, he won by a landslide too. That's the horrible thing.
Yeah.
His acceptance speech, because he's going to be running against Tallarico, and the Democrats are thrilled, of course. He slammed him as being a woke vegan. And that's why he's performing in Texas.
Yeah.
Because he's woke.
It's hard. That's terrible.
He's not even a vegan now.
He's not
a vegetarian.
He's not. It's like, that's it. You got to make up that somebody's a vegan. That's all you got. So first question is for Tom, then everybody else jump in. And that is, okay, with all of this, we have had our hopes raised in Texas before. I mean, we have thought a number of times that, like we thought we would see Beto O'Rourke was going to win. We thought that Ted Cruz would lose, and Ted Cruz wins time after time after time. And this is supposedly going to be an easier race for the Democrats, who have not elected a statewide Democrat in Texas in decades. Tell me, Tom, do you think that this might be it? This might actually finally, with everything going on, be a bridge too far, even for Texas, as corrupt as this guy is?
Well, first of all, Brian, you harp on all the horrible things that he's done. What about all the horrible things he hasn't done? He's never had sex with a Jekyll.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
Gregory Peck has never tried to kill one of his kids. So, I mean, I think that's I think there are many pluses. We need to dig some more, but I'm sure there's a lot of things that no, actually, I think this is like the best chance. It was the best. It was the reason why Crockett lost to is it Tenrico?
Tallarico.
And so the guy is a pastor. He actually walks the walk. But then again, most Christian nationalists don't even understand the Bible, the New Testament, or anything about Jesus. If you start telling them what Jesus said in the Bible, they go, "That's not true. Jesus isn't woke." So we all dream of nice things happening. I think this is our best chance at it, but I don't know how hopeless Texas is.
Would you bet money? Would you bet money on it?
Would I? No.
Really?
I don't gamble, period.
Right.
No. Texas? No, absolutely not. I mean, Texas most Texans would vote for Satan. Literally, Satan appeared, the whole Satan get up and just poof, and there he is, and he has an R
after his name. That's all.
After his name, that's all that matters to them.
Kathy, what do you think?
It seems. Sorry, it seems like these type of scandals are like a badge of honor in the Republican Party, and also, the head of the snake is horrible. I mean, he's just horrible, and I think he leads. I think that people excuse him, and I think that they are apt to excuse other Republicans as well. So, but I do think that Tallarico is a really good candidate, but so many Republicans have a hard time voting, would have a hard time voting for somebody other than a Republican, no matter what the person has done.
Jim, let me ask you this. Okay, we are seeing record low poll numbers for Trump across the board, from approval to his approval of the handling of the economy to Iran. I mean, just clear across the board. We're talking about approval ratings in the 20s and in the 30s. It's just unprecedented, unseen before. Yet he still endorses a guy this scandal plagued, and the guy wins in a landslide. So that being the case, there's been all this talk that Trump was losing his grip on the party. What do you think that this victory last night says about that narrative?
He won in a landslide, yes, but it was a very low turnout for the Republicans. And also, he still lost a third of Republicans. Usually when, Trump says MAGA, and incumbents always have an advantage. People will always it was politically, I think, a really reckless endorsement of Paxton. It was just, I think a lot of Trump, he's a spontaneous guy. A week beforehand, and he looked at the numbers, and he saw that this guy was already ahead, and mostly because of the anticipation that Trump was going to endorse him, and I think you got to go a little more. I think he was really mad, and I don't know why he was mad at the senator
Cornyn.
Yeah, Cornyn. I think it was maybe because he didn't support the SAVE Act or something like that, or maybe some Epstein file. I mean, he only voted against him 5%, but with Trump, that's
no more than that. He voted with him 99%. It was
I heard it was 95, but so I said he voted against him 5% of the time. But it depends on what that is. And Trump is, he's a spontaneous guy. So I'm not a betting man either, but with the right odds, I would definitely put money on Tallarico, and because he's got the whole religious thing, and I think that he might not pull votes from PACs, but he might keep a lot of there's a lot of people who are just like, what, I've had it, I'm just going to stay home, or maybe and it depends on what his message is, and if Trump can somehow salvage Iran over the next couple of months, maybe,
But he can't.
Yeah, he
He's
can't.
not.
I mean,
He's not gonna. You know, he keeps snatching defeat from the from the jaws of. Well, not even there
yeah,
haven't even been any jaws of victory, and
you
he
know,
keeps doing it.
if gas keeps going up, and I don't understand how Trump's mind works, and I don't know understand what that endorsement was, but you never throw out an incumbent. You just don't do it.
Well, he just
Right,
did
And
it with Massey too. I mean, he'll
yeah,
do. He's
right.
trying to. He's
Massey, I
fuzzing his
get
muscle.
though.
Well,
yeah,
Massey, yeah,
Massey, I
Massey with the
get.
Epstein file, but I was
Yeah,
surprised that Massey's voting record with Trump. You know, it was
Well,
well over 80% that he voted with
yeah.
Trump. Is that you know,
Well,
and
Massey's
Trump.
a nut too. It's the same thing when you listen to like Liz Cheney, who I was really kind of annoyed that Kamala wrapped her arm around her because she's an awful person. They're all awful people because there's nowhere they won't sink to. They all are chronic and serial liars. They will always vilify Democrats to this cartoon level. They kill babies when they come out of the womb. They have a hammer waiting for them. They don't. They will lie boldly, and these imbeciles that vote for these guys, they'll it's all like yummy, more lies. They're
But
more bigger
some of these
spoonful,
lines though
please.
are so ridiculous. Like in the
They're
victory
but it
speech
doesn't
last
cartoonish.
night,
matter.
but I mean, look, all right. Here's a perfect example,
They are
and
the
this is one.
acme of
This is
lies, Brian.
this is, but some are so preposterous that I can't believe any thinking. Well, I'm saying thinking of me. I just answered my own question. And here's the one that he mentioned this last night, and this has been floating around for a couple of years. That there are he says Tallarico is in favor of allowing kids to change their genders, without their parental consent. I was a father of minor children. They couldn't get an aspirin at school without, me signing a
Right.
non-permissive. But somehow there are people who believe that they're going to send their little boy to
Well,
first grade in the morning, and when he comes home in the afternoon, it's going to be a girl, and they literally believe it. I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, these are not very, I would say that the electorate, it's not a very investigatory group. I mean, they're not like, oh, gee, I would like to look up this thing that they're saying and see if there's any truth to it. This is not, these people are going, oh, I'm going to take that. Okay, I'm going to run with that now. And it's all very knee jerk and emotional, and they take the lead from their leader. They
Yeah.
follow his lead, and it's very emotional, very
mhm.
very vindictive, very retaliatory. It's all very negative stuff.
Let me ask you guys this, because we talked a little bit about this on the podcast last week. I when I was a road comic back in the '90s, and I was on the road all the time, I used to play Texas constantly. I would play the Dallas Improv, the Arlington Funny Bone, the El Paso Comedy Club, the San Antonio Comedy Club, the Loud Stop Austin, Loud Stop Houston, all over the place, and I always did very, very well. But I don't think that today I could play I could play Texas and go over. Have you guys played Texas in the day, Kathy, Jim? Have you played Texas,
I
or
mean, the
when's the
last
last
time I
time?
was in Texas I was there for the Moon Tower Festival in Austin, which was a lot of fun, but it's a very different kind of city, and it's a very different. A festival is just very different environment. I haven't played a club in Texas in I don't even know how many years.
You think you could go over in a club in Texas today?
I don't think I'm generally a club comic, to tell you the truth.
Mm.
So I think the answer is probably no.
Jim?
oh, boy, it's been so long since I've done stand up, but some of the shows I've written still play there. Golden Girls does well in
Which actually kind of
Oregon.
surprises me
Yeah,
that
because
it does
it's
well in
such a
Texas.
liberal show. It's a liberal bench show. That's why I often think that the messenger is certainly as important as the message is sometimes.
Mhm.
Which brings us back to Stella Rico, which I think he's a good messenger for Texas. I mean,
Yeah.
I think and I think every year, the older people, we lose a few. Some liberals move in. My friend Billiam Cornell, he's like living in Texas now.
Mhm.
I know people, and you bang things. So much of what people vote for is peer pressure. If you live in Texas, within, if Tom Sawyer moves to Texas within a couple of weeks, he's going to be like, well, this woke thing is getting a little out. That's just the way
But
the
how could
world
there be
is,
peer pressure for voting? The voting booth is private. Nobody knows, which is why I don't understand all the supposedly if
Yeah.
the polls are to be believed or the studies are to be believed, there are parts of this country in which basically a married man gets 2 votes because he's going to tell his wife how to vote and she'll vote without question, lockstep, whatever he tells her, supposedly.
Well,
Now, I don't know if
yeah,
there in parts of this country and in certain cultures, and I don't get why you would do this when it's a secret ballot. And they
I
were
have,
so pissed because Kamala. Go ahead, go ahead.
no, no, you go.
Well, I was going to say because Kamala in one of Kamala's ads, when she was running, they had a special ad that was targeted at these women saying, you just don't tell them. And the right went
I
crazy
know the
saying,
guy who made those ads, Dodie
"Do
Levitt
you?"
made. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Did you say Dodie did that?
yeah, Dodie made those.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Who?
Dodie Levinson. He's a really talented filmmaker and writer, and he's just
Now,
yeah.
was this a job or does he believe this shit?
What about when the curtain closes in the voting booth, you have you can make a.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm on the wrong side. I flipped it. I
No, he's
flipped it
very
around.
good.
Never mind. Forget it. See, I don't know right
You
from
see
wrong,
how
right, left
easy
from
it
right,
is? You
up
see
from
how
down.
easy, Brian,
Wow.
it can
Do you
happen?
live in
That's simple.
Texas, Brian?
That's simple.
Oh
That's
yeah,
simple.
no, I thought it was a good idea. I thought
Erase,
years ago,
erase.
you
Happens every once
know,
in a while.
but here's my theory on it because for some reason, it doesn't seem to work, and I think it's because people would rather say I believe this than say I pretend to believe this with my husband or whoever,
Mhm.
but I'm voting against it. That's the proof that hey, I'm a hypocrite. Click, hey, I'm afraid to
Yeah.
speak my mind. Click. So it's easier, I think, for people just to kind of go, oh yeah, or maybe not vote at all, or uh,
Mm.
I'll put a lot of write-in voting. Well,
Well,
so
I,
who
I
knows?
I don't
Who
know
knows what
everybody's
they believe it. They believe it. And going back to Paxton, he's an
yeah,
embezzler. He's
yeah.
a cheater. He cheats on his wife. He does all these horrible things. I think that actually makes him incredibly eligible to be a senator. I think
Mhm.
those are all really important. Are you a thief? Can you steal from people? Are you good at lying constantly? Yes, I am.
Mhm.
Have you considered being a U.S. senator? Because
Uncle
that's a bit
Sam
I'm working
wants
on.
you.
Kathy, I'm still workshopping that bit, okay? I gotta go over to Chuckles Ass Kissers on
Chuckles ass kissers. I
Ass
don't know.
kissers. I
I don't
haven't
know
played that
everybody.
circuit.
I don't know
Yes.
everybody's marital status here. I know Tom's, and of course I know mine. But I, and just thinking in terms of every real serious relationship I've had. I've been married more than once. Long-term girlfriends lived with. I can't imagine telling any of them, "Here's how you're voting," and then doing
Well,
it.
good. I'm
I
glad
can't
you
imagine.
didn't
I'm
say
serious. I
that. I
can't.
mean, it's insane. I mean, it's horrible. It's horrible, but it's on the rise in this country.
And
That type
women,
of misogyny.
but women really do go along with that.
There
You
are
think?
some women who do go along with that, who do believe that their husbands are the deciders. Yeah, but they're not within our circles. I
Right.
mean, these
And they're
aren't
also
people that we hang with.
they've also been groomed. Where the Republicans love to talk about, grooming, and
Uh-huh.
it's not like Ben Shapiro is taking his kids to other places on Sunday to worship. Let's try out the Islam religion, kids. Parents groom their kids, no matter who they are. I was raised Catholic because my parents were Catholic. That they
Right.
took me to church until I kept asking too many questions, and then they stopped because they had no answers for most
It
of them.
got embarrassing for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got really embarrassing.
Yeah, well, that's
So
what happened.
so
I was raised Catholic and raised mine Catholic, and my granddaughters are going to are being baptized Catholic.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
the thing is,
how
they'll
many
leave.
people?
Everybody leaves. That's the whole
My,
thing.
my my mother did not like religion. But there's like 50s and 60s, and so we had to go along with it. And church was always a threat. in our household, you know.
It's always a good feeling.
If you
Yeah.
wake your father up, he gets to sleep in one goddamn day. I swear to God, you wake him up, we are all going to church. I find that
And then
and then like some family pressure, and they dragged us to the new Lutheran church, and my mother's like, she just does not like, especially when that collection plate came by, she was like, she did not like that, and told me just make a noise with the coin, ting, ting, ting. And then
Bounce it off the plate.
and then I remember the first time I met a Lutheran pastor, Pastor Spangler, his name was. And I remember I was like maybe 10, so this is like 1964. And I'm shaking his hand. You have to shake his hand. First I'm thinking like, who's this guy with the silk robe and the gold piping? Like what? Why is he dressed like that? Why can't he? And every man in America, every man had rough hands because they mowed the lawn. No one had.
No, because they didn't put lotion on because it was too girly.
There's no man lotion, man lotion.
No, there
Jergens,
was-
that was man lotion.
You know,
Jergens.
Masturbating for my father's generation wasn't even invented until like 1973, I think. So, but I remember feeling his pastor's hand, and I'm going, "What's with these soft hands? This guy's got the softest hands of any grown man I know." And she's like, "That's because they don't work." They don't work. So that was my religious thing. So I think we should maybe not use the word groom when we're talking about people passing on their values.
That's true.
Well, I think how about
That's true.
indoctrinate? Can we say indoctrinate?
Indoctrinate is better than groom.
Indoctrinate word,
Okay.
sure, but I mean that's the nature. That's why people have families. That's why Mormons
Yes.
have 40 kids.
I know, like how many people really question the beliefs in which they were raised and
Yeah.
say, well, I'm going to take I was raised Jewish,
What?
but I know, I was raised Jewish.
Boom.
I was raised Jewish, but I rejected religion. I just do not like the whole concept of religion. So I didn't raise my daughter in any religion. I mean,
There you go.
I'm culturally Jewish, and I'm great with that. But I do not like religion. I think it divides people. And I do want to say about Tallarico that it kind of makes me feel a little bad that his advantage is that he's religious, and that's an advantage for him, and that's an advantage for the Democrats in Texas because they're so they feel safe around religion. A lot of people feel so safe around religion that it's going to make them a better person. And it's to me, often it's the complete opposite.
Well, I was thinking the other day about how, we all come to a point, most people even though I do go to church these days, but not buying everything that I'm told. I think for myself, but it's something about the ritual of the mass that gives me some comfort. So, but I started thinking about when was the first time I really started to question. And I'm going to ask each of you if you think of it to jump in. The first thing that you read in the Bible or heard preached in church that made you really question. And me, I remember it very clearly. I wasn't until it was like I was 15, and it were talking about the story of Cain and Abel. Okay, so it's Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, and Cain kills Abel, and then God puts a mark on Cain so that everywhere he goes, everybody will know he's a murderer. Everybody who?
Yeah, nobody's there.
There's Adam, Eve, Cain, Abel.
Yeah,
he's
the
killed
snake,
25%
Adam,
of the 25% of the population of the world. He's killed.
Hey,
So
if
it's
you're Cain,
everybody
I must
who?
not be Cain. Okay.
So you found the first sort of typo in the Bible,
The first
Yeah,
chink in the
I have a
biblical
logic thing on page 76.
Continuity.
Yeah, I mean, no,
Do you remember yours? Do you remember the first time that you?
when I was a
you
kid, I
thought-
swear, I always got like Mother Goose and Brother Grimm fairy tales and Bible stories. They all kind of like, mushed into the same category for me, Noah and the Ark, Pinocchio and a whale, it all kind of, just as crazy. It's like, but I remember I was like, whenever, like 15 or 16, same age, and it was like, because back then religion was just like everyone assumed that the Bible was a metaphor. It wasn't, it wasn't
No,
made
they
by
didn't.
God.
No,
It wasn't,
no, they didn't.
no,
I,
no,
I,
no.
A lot of people,
Religion, and at least in New Jersey, in Central Jersey, in the '60s, the sort of vibe that we
Rhode
got.
Island was the same
And
way.
anybody believed in, we called them Jesus freaks, and they were like,
Mm.
"Oh yeah, you guys really believe this?"
You see, me growing up in the
Yeah.
Bay Area in the
church
Catholic Church in the 70s, I don't remember
Well,
anybody looking
The
at Bibles
Catholics
on
were
the streets.
different. They, they
Yeah.
had St. Bart's, and I used to see, we'd be out on the playground, and like noon at Tuesday, about 30 or 40 Catholic kids would like make this little path from the secular school, memorial
Right.
school, over to St. Bart's, and they all looked like they were just about to get whipped. They were like, "Here we go, catechism," or whatever garbage they were
Right.
putting into their head. But the Catholic kids were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah," and even like the priests were like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." It was church was like a social construct in this country for years.
Mhm.
A place to
Mhm.
go on Sunday,
Mhm.
especially in rural America, because everybody
Mhm.
was working, and if you got to tell the husband to take a day off, and you got to take one day off, or else there's no reason to live. The men
Mhm.
would just
Well,
work.
Jim, there are
Rural
places in this
America,
country like Texas and in the South where the first thing they'll ask you is what church you
like
go to.
church. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Well,
Yanni's talked about this in the podcast because
yeah.
she's in where's she, Memphis, Nashville, and then that's the first question that people ask. I have
Brian, can
never
I
read the
tell you?
Torah.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm
I was going to
sorry.
ask you a question. No, I have never read the Torah. Was there a part
Hey,
in the
you and
Torah
I
that
have a
made you
lot in
think?
common. Um, um, I never subscribed to it as a factual thing, but
It's like a magazine. Torah
I
Weekly.
like the ads. I read it for the ads. But
Yeah.
but I'll tell you what changed. What the thing that I remember that changed, that flipped a switch for me was, well, I hated Hebrew school. I just hated everything that had to do with going to temple and all that shit. And but I was taking a field trip with my fourth grade class, I think it was, to the UN. And the woman who was running the tour, there was a very large, huge tapestry hanging off a very, very big wall. And she was telling us that there were three intentional mistakes woven into that tapestry to symbolize that only God is perfect. And I listened to her, and then not many days later, I thought, well, wait a second. If only God is perfect, why do they have to make these mistakes on purpose? Aren't they just going to happen? And then that whole thing the whole thing just blew up for me,
Just
man.
unraveled.
Yeah, it was just,
Yeah,
I think this is all made up. This is all just bullshit.
Yeah.
Tom,
And
was
yeah.
there?
it's
Oh,
just
I'm
a
sorry.
way,
Yeah,
to divide people and have, my God's better than your God. We make more sense than you do. And it just,
Yeah.
Well, see,
Yeah.
there are parts it gives it does it does give me comfort.
yeah.
well,
Not that
that's
I buy it
great.
all, and some, as I said, not that I buy it all,
Have
not
you
that I
tried
believe.
Zoloft?
You know, I tried vodka and Zoloft together.
Oh, you see?
Tom, was there a minute
That's
for
like two
you
religions.
as a kid in the Catholic Church? Was there a minute for you when you read something,
I
or there
well,
was a homily where you went, wait a minute?
my folks told me like really early that I kept asking questions and that they couldn't answer. So they really wanted to get me. They just wanted to stop that train from rolling because I just they always go, God's all powerful. Then okay, then your next question is, okay, well, why does this happen? Why does that happen? Why does well, God acts in mysterious ways. Well, I said, my Uncle Todd acts in mysterious
Yeah, right.
ways. God shouldn't.
I wish
And
I could use that as an excuse in life,
yeah,
Why you
yeah.
run over the old lady? Yeah, I'm a mysterious guy.
Oh, we are also going to hell. We are also going to burn. Oh my God.
Oh,
There
see,
you
Um,
go. But
listen to what you
but
said. Listen to what you just
we're all
said.
going to
that's
burn.
the
We're going to
word.
And
hell.
so you do subscribe to a lot of that.
Well, to some of it, sure. And while I'll be
You
completely
subscribe to the punishment part of it?
no, I will. I believe in heaven and hell, but I will tell you why, and I'll be straight up and tell you why. Even though it's not rational, it's based upon faith, and it's why I think religion, why I believe that religion exists, is because as human beings we cannot deal with the concept of death, and then we have to believe that there's something else.
But it's a
because it
fact.
scares
Death
the
is a
shit out of us.
fact.
It is, but
It's a
I'm saying is,
fact.
but I'm saying is, I believe that that's why it took.
I think
root,
religion
because
exists.
we can't deal with it.
I
Go
think
ahead.
religion exists because there are so many unanswerable things, and the world is basically chaotic. And it's not only religion, it's so many things that we do as people to try to create order in a completely disordered universe. And I think religion is one of those things that tries to answer, it becomes perverted. It has become perverted. I think
Yeah, because of power.
Because yeah, it's a power trip, and you can make a lot of money in it.
Yeah,
And
there's that.
that's
Yeah.
that's it. As soon as somebody is charging you to, pray, you know, but it's it's just messed a lot of people up. It does a lot more bad than good.
I think it does
Absolutely.
too.
I listen to Christian,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
and it's hard because the phase you go through, it's like, it's like a litmus test. It's like with Santa Claus, it's like, how does he get through every fire? What about the kid people who don't have, fireplaces, you think about that. But then, same thing, like Tom has that thing. It was like, asking too many questions. Kathy, it's like, well, why can't they just make it perfect? And if God's so perfect, I got to tell you, I've got some notes about how he's doing with making people, and disease and bone cancer for children. It's like,
Mhm.
what sort of perfect, entity makes that? But that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't, obviously, I'm not keeping it to myself, but
But you don't
I,
proselytize and you don't try to
but then
force it.
then at
You
least,
respect other people's.
yeah, like in 1969 or 70, the thing, atheist. I'm not an atheist. I believe in God. I just don't believe in religion. And then at one point you go, well, I don't believe in God. Hey, Brian, that gives you comfort. Great. I have to go on hell because have known people who carry the fear of hell with them every single day.
Yeah, actually, so have
And
I.
I don't think it's real. I know
Mhm.
it's not real. I know it doesn't exist.
Mhm.
And I'm not the first person to say this, but heaven sounds like a real goddamn boring cruise
Right.
that doesn't
It
go
sounds like a
anywhere.
boring
It
cruise.
does.
It does. Like old people,
And hell sounds like a
"Yeah,
carnival
have you had the
cruise.
chicken? Oh, you know,
You would think the chicken would have a little more flavor here in heaven.
you think it
This
would, but
is really
there's like
maybe a
different
nice mole
levels
sauce.
go
Okay,
down to the lower levels, have their chicken, and come back here.
come
And
back
you'll
up.
say, you know what? I'd rather be up here on the top and have the chicken up here.
The promenade
By the
deck
way,
chicken in
everybody on a
this
cruise
heaven.
is Jewish for some reason, Kathy. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna one last question, and then we'll move on from this. And I'm just curious, but Kathy, based upon what it is that you told me, and I have had many Jewish friends, some who like you did. I don't practice. I have nothing really to do with it. I've never bought into it, and others who were very very devout. And
Yeah.
what I'm curious about is most of the ones I know who were like you, who just told their parents, "I don't buy this anymore." At some point, there was a real rift, and mom's constantly still trying to 30 years later, trying to pull them in. Did you get any family backlash?
Oh my God. I'll tell you something. We were, this is a very intimate thing. We were in family therapy at one point in the early 70s, or late 70s. And my mother and I, it was just my mother and father and I in this particular session. And my mother and I were arguing about the fact that I didn't feel that it was important for me to go out with Jewish guys. And I just tried to explain to her that it's not important to me. It's not an important criterion to me for someone because I'm not religious. It's just not important. And she would go back and forth and she was going, we were going back and forth and I was saying, but it's just not important to me. And she said, well, I think that's a sign of you not quite loving us enough.
Wow.
Whoa.
I
Yikes.
know. So there you go. There's some backlash for you.
Yeah,
And your response was nothing, I'm assuming, because
No, I mean,
how do you come back from that?
surprisingly, my father was like, saying to her, May, it's okay. It's like she doesn't believe it. Let her be. Which my father was able to grow in this way in life.
Yeah.
And my mother was not. My mother had a, I mean, I loved my mother, and we developed a good relationship, but she was a narcissist, and what she believed was what her children had to believe.
Mm.
That we had to be images of her. And so, yeah, there was a lot of, and both of my sisters practice religion, and they're not religious, but
Mhm.
they practice their religion, and I don't. And sometimes there's
Because you're
conflict
good
with
at
them.
it.
Huh?
You don't need practice. You're good at it.
Well, you know, some
But
people
there's
You're
are,
conflict
natural.
there too.
they
You
go
can
to
jump in
church.
any time.
What?
Go ahead, Jim.
Oh,
You're in the middle. Yeah. What did you freeze? Did you lose your internet?
no, 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 no,
You
no.
on AT&T too? Go
I,
ahead.
I know people, use church and like as a social thing, and it's a business thing too. That's why a lot of people, that's the community. That's the community
Mm-hmm.
that you go to, and it's
Mhm.
just easier to drink the wine and chew the cracker and go, oh, yeah, 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 and then
You're
it's
not
like
supposed to
golf.
chew it. You're not
Like a
supposed to
lot
chew
of
it.
business is done on the golf course,
Yeah.
and that becomes like a religion too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy for people to go. It's just easier to go along. That's what all the peer pressure is.
Yeah.
It's so much
Yeah.
easier, and if you're and Kathy, if you're brave enough in 1971, what are you, like 9? You're what?
71, I was 16.
Yeah, you're 16, you're a child, right? So,
Yeah.
and to kind of like make that break, and that's why we went into, show business or whatever.
Right.
Mhm.
No one, I wasn't a funny kid. When I was like 20, my father was like, he saw the first time he saw me perform comedy, he really was like, don't give up your day job,
Oh,
Well,
thanks,
that's
Dad.
everybody's parents.
but that's what a parent's job
That's
is.
everybody.
Right,
Yeah.
right, to protect.
Don't go outside our group. Stay in,
Yeah,
save.
but see, I just think that's a pity, personally. I think that a parent should be able to allow a kid to fall on his or her face and encourage, if a kid is showing some desire to pursue something, say, okay, give it a try.
Hey,
Give
is
it a
that your
try.
daughter
I
with a
agree.
burqa on behind you? What's going on?
Say it again. What? What'd you say?
Is that your daughter with a burqa on behind you?
Yeah. My parents were the opposite. They were like, Tom, put down the scalpel.
All
I want to
right.
be a doctor.
Let's move on because we got more to get to for it. And I know Kathy's on the clock today.
Oh,
So
sorry,
this
yes.
next question is for you. I don't know if I didn't see the Kevin Hart roast on Netflix.
I
Have you
didn't
guys
I
watch it?
didn't see it either, but I
You
read
know
a
about the
lot about it, and
controversy.
I heard a lot about it, and
Mhm.
I'll just
Well,
say,
before
go ahead.
before you answer this, let me just set it up,
Sure.
okay? There is controversy because of some of the things that were said. As there are a lot of, I mean, roasts are brutal; they just are. But Tony Hinchcliffe, who is the host of the Kill Tony podcast, which I read is the most popular live podcast in the world, shockingly as right wingers this guy is, said
Mhm.
at the Netflix Kevin Hart roast, one of the jokes he did was the black community. This is a quote: "The black community is so proud of you right now. George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard he can't breathe." And people have lost their shit over it. Of course, George Floyd's family's not happy with him making a remark like that, as well as a number of people who were there. And Kevin Hart's getting a bunch of backlash for it. And his whole thing is, look, it's a roast. You're supposed to say stuff like this. And even if I was offended by it personally, what am I supposed to do? Pull the comic off stage? So, number one, do you think it should have been handled in any way? And if it should have been handled, what should have been done? And I'll ask you too whether or not you've actually participated in roasts or
No,
how far have you gone?
I've
What have
not
you done?
participated. I think the problem is inherent to the roast. It's
Yeah.
to the whole conceit of a roast. I think it's stupid. I think it's mean-spirited. I just don't think it's adding anything good to the world. I just don't
Really?
like it. I don't like it. I don't like it. I think that what was said was horrible. I think I don't like that kind of comedy. I just don't like the kind of comedy that puts people down, that hits people's vulnerable spots like that for no reason. For no reason. I mean, we're not talking about someone who's like Hitler, who's
Yeah.
hurting people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't understand. It's just being mean for no reason at all.
Now I will watch on my Facebook from time to time. I'm in the algorithm where I get Carson stuff will pop up in the reels, and the Dean Martin roasts from the '70s will pop up in the reels.
Mhm.
And I'm sorry, that shit's funny.
But I mean,
Looking
It
at
was so much
I mean,
tamer.
Foster Brooks. Remember Foster
yeah, they
Brooks
were,
and the
yeah,
Drunk Act and all, and Rickles. Oh my God, Rickles is hysterical. But it's not as mean. It is true. It's
and
not as mean.
also, Brian, they're making fun of the persona. They're still doing Jack is so cheap, and
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
so
And Foster
so
Brooks was not
Don
drunk,
Rickles,
really.
Johnny's
Yeah.
wives.
yeah, right.
Right.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. It was very tame stuff compared to what I mean. I think that what is lauded today is some really disgusting stuff. I don't like it. I just don't like it, and I don't like to participate in it, and that's why I don't watch it. And
Well, there
Have
was a
have you been
lynching
invited?
joke.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Somebody did a lynching joke about Kevin Hart and his height that
Yeah,
he's so short
Shin,
you can lynch him from a bonsai tree.
in Japan, yeah,
Yeah.
But I mean, that's listen, I'm with Kathy on it. Not my cup of tea. Never,
You never did
uh,
one. You
yeah,
never participated in one.
no. And but I mean, I can't think of a funnier person than Jeff Ross. And if you've ever seen
No.
Jeff Ross in
Mhm.
person, and he brings 20 people up on stage and who he's never met before and insults every single one of them individually, a crater,
Mhm.
he's got
Mhm.
this mind that he can do it. And
And
people
he's the
love,
nicest guy on the planet.
he's
On
the
top of it,
sweetest, most nice,
he's the nicest guy on the
and
planet.
his jokes are, I agree with Kathy. They go over the line, but the ones that get like right up to the line, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? I mean,
Right.
there is a positive thing of like we should be able to laugh at ourselves,
Right. I
even
think we
our
should be able to live
darkest things.
at
Yeah,
ourselves. I think that's
yeah,
the key, at ourselves,
Right.
yeah,
not at somebody else's expense like
See,
yeah.
that.
my
But
friend Mike
everybody,
Ferrucci, San Francisco comic, who Tom knows very well, I'm sure, brilliant, and he's one of the writers. Has been one of the writers on every single one of Jeff
yeah.
Ross's roasts, and some of it goes a little too far. I remember the one. I'm not sure if he wrote this joke or not, but it was the very first one they did. It was Jeff Foxworthy. And this is the one that got all the press, and people were just outraged. And Dean Martin's daughter, put out a statement that my father's roasts were so much tamer. And what the joke was, he said somebody, I can't remember whose mouth the joke came out of either, but somebody said that Jeff Foxworthy's sitcom was so bad that Christopher Reeve got up and changed the channel, and people just lost their shit and just said it was just was too far. And since then, I've heard way worse stuff than
Mhm.
that.
But
So
why is that even a thing? Let's
Right.
get worse. Let's all get worse. I mean, why do we want to
Because
get worse?
we're people who don't even watch it, and the jokes that pop through are the most outrageous
Yes,
ones.
yes.
It's all about, this Tony Hinchcliffe, what's his name?
yeah,
Hinchcliffe, yeah.
Yeah. He just seems like a terrible guy.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he's got a platform. And this is why when people say the whole thing about the woke thing, it's like, oh, you mean nice or like respectful or,
or
we're
care about other
empathetic.
people.
We see how that hurts people's feelings. You're
Mhm.
thinking of Chris Reeves sitting there watching, that show, and the Chris Reeves joke comes by and he goes, "What'd I do?"
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not even
yeah.
there.
Why do I get this? Or he might
Right.
have laughed at it. We don't know.
Now,
You
see,
know.
I did one once. I've
Yeah.
done not a televised one. There was a roast of Willie Brown years ago in San Francisco. You might even book this, Tom. I think it was for like the homeless coalition. And I was
Oh,
I
no,
got
no,
to close
no.
it.
His girlfriend Kamala booked it at the time, right? What?
So you
That's
all
not a
know who Willie
secret.
Brown. Y'all know who Willie Brown is.
Yes,
So
yes.
my friend Johnny Steele, who's a regular on the podcast,
Yeah.
who the line that he did that nobody, it's one of those things that you to say something in front of somebody that the audience can't believe that you said. And what Johnny's line that actually took this, brought down the house was he goes, Willie, you and I have a lot in common. You're single, I'm single, you date a lot, I date a lot, but on occasion I will go out with a black woman. And everybody lost their shit because nobody could believe that he was saying that. First of all, he was saying out loud. And was
Right.
unfortunately Willie has a good sense of humor. When Willie got up there, he got him back and got him back well. But it wasn't anything as crude as as the Chris Reed joke and some of the other
Well,
stuff.
because I mean, but there's some facts. There are some facts in that joke.
Right. Yeah.
Allegedly.
You know,
I'm just gonna say allegedly.
Okay. Okay.
you know, here's what that makes the roast a little like everybody is there voluntarily. You know, you don't have to be there. You know, I also know it's just like Kevin Hart's going to be there. You know, we're going to hear 800 short jokes, and then we're going to cut to people pretending to laugh at the same stupid joke. Like creatively, I just feel it's just like, oh boy, you know, I don't want to see Tom Brady do comedy. I don't,
Oh
you know.
God.
You
That
know,
was painful.
but I mean, everyone watches them. It works for some people. And at the end of the day, I'm a libertarian. I go, whatever you want. Doesn't matter what I like or not like because I have,
It's all subjective.
900 places I can watch right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think what's the history of the roast? Do you know? I mean, did it start with the
Comedy.
Friars?
It came, start Friars Club did it, and it was closed. It was, oh, this is so dirty, you know.
Right.
They're
Well, I heard a
gonna say the C
bootleg.
word, you know, right?
The great Pat Paulson was one of my dear friends, and he got invited to one. He won the Emmys, the Emmy in like '68 for the Smothers Brothers. So he got invited, and somebody snuck in a recorder because you weren't supposed to be, it wasn't recorded. And to hear this bootleg, it's like the stuff that it's all gay jokes and Carson talking about somebody blowing somebody. And I mean, just it was pretty.
Yeah, it was.
I'm sorry.
It was closed. It was closed. That's what made it great for those guys, to be able to do what we're doing in comedy clubs now.
It was like a green room.
So freeing.
Basically,
right. Yeah, that's right. It was like a green room.
Yeah. I mean, if you've ever been in a green room with Bob Saget, there's
oh my God.
I mean, it was the most like jaw-droppingly offensive stuff on the planet, but you're laughing your ass off.
I guess that's what I miss about it because Kathy, I've been in a lot of writing rooms.
Yes.
And the jokes that we would do, because you have to.
I know, and then I've been in some writing rooms too, and I know, and not as many as you, obviously, but I know what you're talking about.
But you do those big jokes to prime the pump.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I would do like the filthiest joke, and then we'd work our way back and what's the cleanest version of this filthy
Yes,
joke?
but it's an enclosed, it's an insulated area.
Let me ask you this question. I remember a number of years ago there was a lawsuit late in the run of Friends there was, I think it was an African American woman writer who filed it that it was a hostile work environment and all of this. And I don't know how it was settled. I don't know how
she got money.
Did she have money and it was settled and probably never worked again, is my guess. But here's the question, and that is with how careful we have to be in the workplace, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't be. In a comedy writer's room, are the rules the same? I mean, do you check yourself, or do you need to check yourself? In terms of is this something that's going to get me in trouble by saying this in mixed company?
Now you do. Now you do. There's a new generation. Now you do. The last 15 years, So
what are the rules? I mean, are there rules?
Yeah, you don't want to do anything, that's, especially if there are other people, writers, assistants, and whatnot, they're not in the game. You know what I mean? And you can cross the line. And I have seen guys, cross the line and go, into a personal thing. And there's definitely rules now. You got to be careful. You can't do anything sexual. One of the reasons why you see like comedy writers, guys, do a lot of gay jokes back in the day is because, listen, I wrote the first, I was in Golden Girls and Anita Hill was testifying about this new thing called sexual harassment. It was a new phrase.
It was.
And
91.
And we were watching this as we were writing the show because everyone watched those things. And I came running into the writer's room and I said, "You'll never guess who's complaining about sexual harassment. Tits and accounting." It got a giant laugh, right there.
And
And so
today, what HR comment?
I stick my flag there, because, at the end of the day, if people are laughing, you obviously haven't offended them, unless they're
Right.
pretending to laugh and to hide that they're offended. But
Right.
we're people who make, I try to eye the room, read the room, read the room, read the room.
Right.
And after a while, if someone feels comfortable, as I get older, especially, Kathy, I can, all I want as a man is to just not be creepy. You know what I mean? That's all I'm going
Well, good
for.
luck with that.
Hey, shut up.
By the way, I don't even know why they called me tits. I don't even understand.
Hey, let's get back to the Kathy Ladman roast. I'm telling you. Rose, that's the first thing she's had in the oven, huh? Am I kidding?
Oh my goodness. All right, let's move on with this, Jim. Your question, and that is, every time there is a Republican administration that is coming to power over probably the last 25 or 30 years, you always hear all of these people who are on the left say, "I'm leaving America," and nobody, as far as I know, ever really did until now. I mean, there are lots of people. I mean, I know somebody who's left America for Thailand because who never lived in Thailand but went on a vacation like that and is so scared of what's going on here. So there's a long list of celebrities in an article that I read at Apple News who have left America. Now some have just fessed up and said, "I don't like the direction the country's going." Like Robin Wright, who's moved to England, and she said that, and this is a quote: "America's a shit show." And then there are others who are claiming, well, personal reasons, or I decided to raise my kids here in Indochina because it's, whatever. Because it's better, it's a safer neighborhood. But here's a list of some of those who've left, and I don't have their reasons down here. But I can't. There's so many, but several of them, but because of family, or there's something we go, oh bullshit, you just don't like what's going on at home. Amber Heard moved to Spain after the Johnny Depp trial. Lindsay Lohan is married to a wealthy businessman from Dubai, so they live in Dubai. Rosie O'Donnell has left for Ireland, and I think has been quite clear about why she's no longer here. James Cameron is in New Zealand. Ellen DeGeneres and Portia de Rossi are in England. Richard Gere is in Spain, and he's there because it's the home country of his wife. Courtney Love is in London. Eva Longoria is in Spain and Mexico. And she made a real big point on a podcast of saying she didn't leave America because of politics. And I remember clearly her saying that she did not feel safe raising her children in this America. But now she's saying, no, that's not why she's there. She's in Spain and Mexico. It's, a lot of production is being done there because it's cheaper. Pamela Anderson is in Denmark, and that's just a handful of. So my question for you, Jim, and then for everybody else is there anything well, first of all, have you ever thought about leaving America because of the conditions of America, be it the cost of living, be it, like the political way that the political environment? Have you ever thought of leaving the country, and would you ever do it, or what would it take for you to do it?
Oh, yeah, I think everyone, and not it's just because I'm tired of the whole American deal. I'm tired of like I'm for Trump and I'm not. I'm tired of like, all that conflict, I would just say like, I didn't leave America, America left me. And also, if you've spent like, a couple of weeks in Ireland, it's like, oh, it's different here. Like I'm a talker. I talk to people. It drives my poor wife crazy that I'm like, in the elevator, hey, who wants to talk? And we get into Ireland and everyone's like, hey, I'll talk back, I'll talk. And they're a very talky thing. And Maggie's like, oh, these are your people. So those are my people. And it is nice. The reason I've lived here in Los Angeles is because of work, but there is a lot less work, As I always say, hey, I'm a 71-year-old white comedy writer, male, the world is my oyster. I'm just picking and choosing like crazy. But I mean, a gig comes flying in once in a while. The weather is great. My daughter lives here, my granddaughter. That's why you stay. It's not because of politics. You don't
Right.
leave. But if I had like 40 million bucks in the bank, I would be with Rosie. I'd go to
Would you?
Ireland for a while. Yeah. But from Queens to Ireland, that's a 5 hour plane ride, and she's a
Yeah.
Queens girl and she's
Mhm.
Irish and everyone loves her and I totally get it. You know what I mean? The
Right.
weather is the same,
Right.
it's a lot like home, it's not that big of a jump. And celebrities, have had 5 places to live, all the time,
Right.
They have their places where like, hey, I can go here, nobody knows I'm not a big star here in Italy, so I can walk down the street and buy bread and stuff like
Right.
Well,
that.
that George Clooney is in Paris.
Yeah.
He was in Paris in part for that very reason.
And
He's
I
maybe
know many non-celebrities who have left. I
now,
know
but for
people in
political reasons.
Yeah.
Portugal and Thailand,
It's cheaper. It's
it's
cheaper.
cheaper and they're kind of
Healthcare,
disenchanted.
yeah. Healthcare and like, like
Oh yeah,
I
healthcare
get it,
big.
I mean, like Los Angeles, you can say what you want, the weather is great. It's a terribly run city.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's just terribly run. We are not good at picking people to run the city,
Mhm.
and it's
It's
all
too
because of the
big.
culture wars,
It's too big.
like I thought this guy Caruso, like who ran for mayor. I go, I like the guy. I like the Grove. He built the Grove.
Mm-hmm.
We have this thing called the farmers market. Everyone has one,
Mhm.
but it's on Fairfax and Third, and it was a nice little farmers market. And then there was about a half an acre of parking. Remember that, Kathy? And
Yes,
there was like a little
yes,
there was like a little
yes.
bank in the middle of it. Nothing. And
Right,
he saw this and he said, "Look at this prime real estate," and he turned it into the most successful outdoor mall in the world.
right,
And it's great, and everybody goes there. Nobody's complaining about,
right.
yeah, the parking is expensive, but so yeah, and during the fires, everyone criticized him because he has another little mall in the Pacific Palisades, Caruso, and it survived. Like everything else is gone. It survived because he hired a private firefighting unit
Wow.
to protect his place.
Oh, that's bad optics. I
Is
mean,
it
that's
bad optics,
bad.
or it
It's
was?
bad optics. Yeah, if everybody else
I
loses their
disagree.
everybody
I
around it loses their you're the mayor, and everyone loses their
no,
property
no, no.
except for
He's
you.
He
not the
wasn't.
Oh,
mayor.
he's
He
not
He's
the
not
wasn't
mayor.
the
the
mayor.
mayor.
No.
He's a private citizen.
Yeah,
He said he was the one who knew
he was
that
running.
you had the foresight, and he was the one who said, this is a problem. I know that he believed it was a problem because he put a lot of money up to say that's the only thing at say that is still
Right,
standing in that area. You
right.
know, that's it to me. That might have been a guy who would have been in town during the
Mhm.
fire. I like Karen Bass. She was nice, but she made a giant mistake. That's bad optics. Being on a
Yeah,
plane to give an award in, Kenya,
right,
while you
Town
have,
is burning down.
and,
Burning to the
right.
and
ground.
and and 3 days beforehand, I got like a thing from the little Hancock Park Association. Big winds coming,
Right.
gonna
Yeah,
be
so
some
there
fire.
were yeah, there
They
were
knew it.
warnings.
Yeah,
Yes.
they knew about it, and
Mm-hmm.
they sent a thousand firefighters home the night of the things because of overtime. They didn't want to pay
Right.
overtime.
Hmm.
How was I haven't been down there since the fires. How
It's awful. It's
is it
awful.
really
It's like
is
people don't
rebuilding
even talk
happening?
about it. A
Is
little
rebuilding
bit, but
happening?
there's still a ton of red tape, and who's gonna rush to build in an area when we really haven't figured out can we protect these homes?
Well, they
Right.
do. My understanding is I mean, how many fires have there been in Malibu, and they continue to rebuild?
Yeah, I know. Well, that's
I mean, over and over and over again. It's like
Malibu's gone though. I mean, the coast. You go to PCH,
It's
and it's like
it's
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 gone.
desolate. Yeah.
Yeah, it's and I'm surprised that it's not like people are just like, well, we'll keep on going. We don't try. I'm like, this was such a catastrophic, blow to this town,
Oh my
and
God.
and
Yeah.
and and, and then people left, and then the industry is just,
Crumbling.
crumbling.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, we're still making stuff, but not here. You know,
Right.
you know,
Right.
Vancouver, right? That's where most of the
Montreal,
production is.
Vancouver. My daughter does a show. She casts a show called Ghosts
Hmm.
for CBS.
Big
Right.
hit.
Thursdays at 9. Always selling. And
I'm curious about how does she has she said anything to you about the boycott? There's a real big push right now because of the Ellisons owning Paramount and CBS to boycott all things CBS. I mean, and especially since Colbert went up, I'm seeing it more and more and more. People saying that they will not watch CBS no matter what. and how they messed up
Oh,
60 Minutes. And I'm just curious. I'm just
They're
curious.
still watching the scripted stuff.
Yeah.
Ghost is the number 2 or 1 rated comedy in the country.
Yeah, I hear it's
And
great. I've never seen it. I hear
oh,
it's
it's
wonderful.
good. Yeah, yeah. I'm very proud of her. She cast that was a show you cast with I don't want I'm not they weren't like giant names. You weren't like,
Mhm.
let's get the top names and put them in here.
Right,
She
right,
found those characters. And they have another one called Eternally Yours that's going to be about vampires.
right.
The premise is like, marriage is tough. Imagine if you've been married 700 years. Your premise. So, my daughter is like, doing great, but yeah, boycotts work and they don't work. Who knows? It's so
Well,
silly.
Target got
If
hit
you like
pretty
a
good.
show, who cares who made it? You know, and and the Ellisons are just like, Paramount is still here.
Well, but hang on a second.
There's
Let me
still
ask
a
you this.
lot there. They're putting money into the business.
Well,
So,
hang on a second. Hang on a second. Do you think, and I'll ask both of you this, do you think that there is anything good about the possibility of Paramount and Warner Brothers Discovery merging and having all of that
oh yeah,
that much of the
A Mission
industry
Impossible
in those
Harry
hands?
Potter crossover. Hard just thinking about it.
No, I'm serious. So you're gonna have one company that owns CNN and owns CBS, and it's too much
There
consolidation.
used to be three companies. There used to be three companies, at least in media,
Right.
But there were more studios, and the
yeah,
content was coming.
you're right. There were 5 studios, but they owned the theaters, and they had to break that up. There's always going to be a group of people,
A power grab, yes.
and if they don't know how to entertain people, what happens now is like, the biggest threat we have is YouTube. The biggest threat we have is people making their own stuff. And now you have the ability with AI, whatnot, to make stuff that looks as good as anything the studios can do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and all they have is money and marketing. Yeah, that's the only thing. The whole business has to be rethought, and and by the way, it's always that way.
A buddy of
It's
mine
always
who's
that
a showrunner down in LA was just telling me how it looks like he sold the show, and he's saying it's a retirement, and he's hoping that it goes fast because he said you can see where AI is already having a beginning to have a big impact on production, and in 5 years it's not going to look like it looks today, and there are going to be a lot fewer
No.
jobs because
And
of it.
by the way, it's not like they're erasing everything we made, you
Right.
know? So, like everything else, the good stuff remains. There's for every Buster Keaton, there's like, 1,500 other guys who are like falling down manholes. It's like, how come I'm not funny? How come nobody remembers me? Yeah. So, we have our stuff,
Manholes.
you have a handful of shit that out of all the shows I did, there's maybe like I've worked on maybe 120 really good episodes of stuff.
Wow.
Everything else is like, it's okay,
Okay,
a lot
what's
of
what's the
filler.
That's
shittiest
good.
one?
That's pretty good.
What's
Yeah.
this? I don't, if there's a way you can do this without getting yourself in trouble, what's the shittiest show you ever worked on?
I can't do it without getting in trouble.
No, even if it was like one episode of an episodic from
It was
40
called
years ago.
it was called Tom Sawyer's Comedy Corner. It was a goddamn train wreck. This guy, he thinks he's got, oh, Tom.
Put down the knife.
I love to hear the horror stories. I just
But
No. There are definitely shows that pilots, like, shows that I've created. It all comes down to like 10 things have to work for a show to work.
Right.
And-
yeah.
Yeah.
There are so many variables, and the timing is
Yeah.
essential, and
Yeah, a good a script. It has to be cast. I think casting is the most important thing. I've said this. I tell my daughter, I go, I would rather have a good cast doing a bad script than a bad cast doing the best script ever written.
Mhm.
You ever seen some bad Shakespeare? I have. We know the script.
oh man.
So and also like a good actor can
But he
take
was a hack.
yeah, he can take his he can take your B material and it forces him to bring their little bag of tricks.
Mhm.
So all of a sudden it's like maybe that isn't the best Jack Nicholson movie, but it forces him to do that Jack Nicholson stuff that you like. So that's just my
Right.
yeah.
Let's see. And with this, this just kind of blows my mind. Cher is 80 today. Cher is 80 today. And, when I look at birthdays like this, especially people like I grew up with, and you see they're that old, it really makes me feel shitty. Am I the only one? It just makes
You're the only one who believes they're going to go to heaven, so you should be like kicking those
it's
damn
hell.
heels,
It's hell that I believe that there is.
Well, it's I mean, it doesn't make me feel shitty. It makes me feel mortal. And
Yeah.
I realize,
Shitty,
you know,
yes.
but I realize that, I mean, like, my life is finite, and that's okay. I mean, that's okay.
Yeah, that's how
Some
I feel
days it's
about it,
really
too.
good.
Yeah.
I think what was interesting was I saw McCartney on Colbert, the last Colbert
Right.
show, and how old he was, and then
How old
on
is he?
YouTube I saw a video of that was 12 years ago of McCartney with Nirvana, with the remaining members of Nirvana doing a song, and it was awesome. It was so, and I never saw it, and it was so
Wow.
amazingly awesome. And McCartney sounded so great, and it made me a little sad because I think he sounds terrible now. I almost kind of wish he would stop or kind of reinvent his music towards the way
what
his
his
voice has
instrument
changed.
is, right?
But it is what it is.
It's like when a porn star only does, blowjobs.
It's exactly that.
When they get lazy. I hate that
lane.
when they just get lazy. Well, the thing that's a like I was in high school in the 80s, and you always love your high school music. And so a lot of the bands that I used to go and see, and I know Tom's a music snob, so you're not going to like it, the REO Speedwagons and the Sticks and Loverboy.
I love those guys.
And Journey and all these guys. But, they'll play, stuff like, places like the Fair, places like the little pavilion kind of place. And the unfortunate thing that I have noticed is that most of them, when they play, you're coming to hear the hits, but they can't hit the notes anymore. It's not 40 years ago. And what's interesting, like I saw REO Speedwagon, they were trying to do Keep on Loving You, and it just, he could not hit it. He just couldn't. But then they played new stuff that's in the key in which they can sing now, and it was amazing.
Yeah.
It was much better than the other stuff. But it just makes you feel old, though. It makes me anyway just feel old.
That shouldn't make you feel old. The fact that you were born so long ago is really make you feel old. Not because Cher was also born long ago.
So,
but I think also we work in a business that condemns us for getting older, and
Right.
It's not our fault. I mean, we were born, and at every moment we live, we're getting older.
Well, and I actually find the sad part when the artist doesn't own their age, when they try to hang on to something that is gone from them. And
Right.
I think, because I really I would love to see, a concert where Paul McCartney just played, with a small band and a smaller venue where he doesn't have to belt out the songs and doesn't have to come with fireworks and stuff, and just play the songs that you can still sing. You got a gigantic catalog of amazing songs. Just do the ones that you can still
or within his
notes,
range,
or
yes.
reinvent those. For your vocals. Every song. I mean, we hear bands all the time doing covers of songs that they have no business of doing, and they make them their own, and they're amazing.
Right.
That's what McCartney and all these other artists need to do. Stop trying to be you in your prime and be you where you are now. That's what we all are. All your fans are there.
Oh yeah, no, I really hats off on how you've lowered the bar, Tom. It's like you're not even trying, like you're a child.
See, you're right, because the problem is you're going to hear the hits. That's up. If you're going to hear, you're going to hear the hits.
You know who still has his chops? Paul Anka. Paul Anka still has his chops.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, a couple, because Paul Anka does 350 dates a year. Wow. Paul McCartney takes a year or two off, and it's
Wow.
like, Oh yeah,
So
he never stops working.
You know
Wow, that's
who blew me,
amazing.
who absolutely blew me away was I saw Tony Bennett once. It was about maybe 3 years before he died. So he
Wow.
was like, what? He must have been in his late 80s, and it was at the Opera House in San Francisco,
Wow.
and he started doing the way you look tonight,
Oh,
and put the mic down
Yep,
and hit the back wall.
yep,
I mean,
yep.
wow.
at that old, and his daughter, who was like at 50 or something, was opening for him, and
Right.
Wow.
she didn't have pipes like he had. I mean,
No,
I was
because he
just,
worked all the time. Those pipes never, he always worked. He was like, all these guys from the 50s and 60s, they'd take a
Hmm.
tour and then like take 3 years off. You
Right.
know, they went out there every day. Sammy Davis Jr.
yeah.
every day. All those guys, they worked every day. They got their bucks one at a time. You
Hmm.
know,
And that
um,
reminds me to plug our sponsor Ricola for your chops.
They're a sponsor now. Thank you.
look at
That's how we'll do
that.
it.
See, Tom,
That's
you
how we'll
had
get
a
sponsors for
problem.
this show. We'll just advertise shit.
Yeah.
Let's just start
Ever
advertising.
since Tom got
Arrowhead
doing
water
pop
is the best
comedy,
water. Huh? Well, with that, I know Kathy has other things
weed,
to
it
do.
really works.
What does it say on that desk?
What? Yeah. What kind is it?
I don't know. Design
Oh,
TH.
design. Oh, I thought. Oh,
Uh,
right.
That's
Oh,
why.
okay.
That's why I smoke design because it's really what was I saying?
There you go.
Thank you,
There
thank you.
you go.
Kathy, anything
Yes.
you would like to mention, or anything you would like to
Well,
plug?
I'm going to be up in Sonoma at the Deloche Vineyards on
oh,
June
Oh, really?
13th.
yeah, it's right near
So,
me.
yes.
That's right
Oh,
near.
Yeah,
oh,
it's not
wow.
far from
Yeah,
me
you can
either.
come visit.
Oh,
I can come visit
cool.
you. You can come visit me.
Okay. Well,
When again?
it's on June 13th.
Oh,
Okay.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna be in the Berkshires at the beginning of
Oh, that's
July.
shoot. That's our movie night.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
dude, but yeah,
Okay.
but are you,
Just
well, we'll
2 days. I mean,
talk.
I'll just
Well,
anyway, we'll talk.
We're, we're
And
showing the
then
but
Excalibur.
seriously, that you have that choice. Dear friend who you've known for like 40 plus years or
and
movie.
going
You
to
know,
see
I
why?
got 20 people coming over. I got to make
uh,
it a tri-tip.
well, anyway, oh, that sounds good. And then I'll be at the Mahayway in the Berkshires on July 11th and at the Emmeline in Mamaroneck on July 30th.
All right, and all that information will be in the show notes.
I, I
Cool.
The
would.
tickets.
I'm gonna.
We let the woman ever plug, for God's sake.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
all. I'm done.
yeah.
I'm
She
done.
was done. She was
Now,
done.
Now Jim is going to do his
Go
joke
ahead,
plug.
Jim.
Let's
Yeah,
hear it.
I'm going to be stalking Kathy Ladman in Sonoma on January 12th, 13th. I'm going to be following her at the Berkshires.
Can't wait.
All right, and Tom, the comedy club
Comedy Club on
documentary.
Amazon Prime.
Mhm.
Dana Carvey, Bob Saget, and lots of other funny people.
Millions of others.
Oh,
I'm not in it.
cool.
Am I in it? I
Yeah.
keep asking you.
And I also saw a great movie last night that I want to plug, which is called Over Your Dead Body. Hilarious. If you
Oh,
like dark
wow.
comedies, it's so funny.
Oh, great.
I laughed so hard.
Who's in it?
What's the guy who's on the series Shrink?
Oh, you talking about Jason
Jason
Segel?
Yeah,
Yeah, I love
yeah,
Jason.
and Samara and I think Samara Weaving and Timothy Oliphant and Juliette Lewis.
Oh, cool.
Oh, that sounds like a great cast.
And this
Yeah,
is in
super
theater,
dark,
in
hilarious.
theaters? In theaters
No,
or
it's on streaming. Just came on streaming
Okay.
I'll check
Right.
it
on
out.
Apple
I
TV.
love Segel.
Give that a
I'm
plug. That's funny.
I'm a big How I Met Your Mother fan, so I will definitely check that out with Segel.
I love a great dark comedy, man. I was crying. I was laughing so hard.
Fun.
Jim, anything you'd like to mention? You plugged your daughter's show. You feel free to do that again. Anything else you want to say about Bill Paley and the history
Oh,
of
Maggie's
CBS?
podcast?
Maggie's podcast, 50 Words for Snow. It's back on the air, and I'm a guest star on it. So,
When?
it's on now. She just put it on. Yeah, she's made like 70 of them. It's like this. She
What's
does
it about?
every week.
Wonderful.
She takes words from her and her partner takes words from other languages that there is no real English or American equivalent of those words, because you feel that like what words other societies have that we don't have. It's like, well, why do they have that word and we don't have a word for that? And it's just discussing words. You know,
Right.
really,
It's very, I
Yeah.
think I think it's a brilliant thing.
All right.
I
Thank
think
you.
it's
I
Language
agree.
envy.
I will
I
make sure to
agree.
check it out. I'll
50
definitely make sure.
words for snow is what it's called.
And a great title also,
Yeah, it is a
besides.
great
Yeah.
title. Yeah.
All right, Tom Sawyer and Kathy Ladman, Jim Vallely, thank you all for
Bye,
doing this. I really
everybody.
It was
appreciate it.
great. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Always,
All
always
right.
nice seeing you, Brian. Take care. Straight home, everybody.
Pleasure. I will.
Bye.
I will see you soon.
Bye.
That's going to do it for us for this week. If you liked what it is that you saw or that you heard, please like and subscribe. If you were listening to the audio version, please give us a 5-star review because it helps people to find the show. So I will check you out with a new panel next week, if there is a next week, and if the world is still standing. Until then, be kind to your neighbor. He knows where you live.